Welcome, Brett Jackson. I am very excited to have you here because you are such an amazing event producer in my experience. And you're a real goof and you care a lot. And that is an ideal combo, I think, when it comes to like community building and particularly in real life. So, would you like to introduce yourself and the communities that you want to talk about?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm Brett Jackson of Live Action Attractions, and I'm here today to talk about Imaginaire Duels, which is the kooky concepts club for creators of experience.
Always a mouthful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Would you like to share a little bit about how that began and where it's at now?
Yeah. Okay, so uh, I have been very involved with the Themed Entertainment Association for a few years now.
For those
And
lay people, what does that mean?
Okay, so it's Imagineers, the people that make the Disney attractions. That's actually a whole industry that services location-based entertainment and experiences. So it's theme parks and it's museums and zoos and escape rooms and all those things. So the trade organization for the people who work in that industry is called the Themed Entertainment Association. That is the biggest trade organization for these kinds of things. And I've been on the board a couple terms, and I'm the events chairperson. And when I am at their networking events, because of course it's all about networking at these things, like that's the primary application of these association events, is I was always struck by sort of the status games that people play in networking events. Like the first thing is always the business card, where do you work, like trying to like surreptitiously sneak like a look at their name tag to see where they work. And if your job is better than theirs, then they have to court you and they have to like impress you. And if the reverse is true, then you're like, I hope they like me.
Hmm.
And that's awful. That feels terrible and it sucks.
Mm.
And I am creative. I am a game designer, an experience designer. I'm a very creative person. I'm happiest when I'm making things. And so I'm like, okay, well, what if there was a networking event for creatives where we did away with all that stuff, like it's actually forbidden, and the way that you meet people is that you first see them make something and then
Hmm.
you decide if you like how their mind works, and then you can walk up to them and very earnestly say, that was so cool, oh my gosh, I liked how you did that. And maybe they're a pauper or maybe they're a prince, but it doesn't matter because
A
you're
pauper
already
or a
connected.
prince?
A pauper or a prince.
I don't know what that means.
It's a Frank Sinatra song. A prince or a pauper. It means like they could have a better job than you, or they could do they could do you professional service, or maybe they can't. But that's secondary and immaterial to whether or not you wanted to meet them or you liked their idea.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Love
And
it.
so, yeah. Although I mean that was the idea of it. And so
Hmm.
um, our, we based our community around a game. So each month features a new venerable celebrity guest judge. We take some creative celebrity, some person who makes things that we all love, and then we
Hmm.
let them judge from the dais a surprise creative prompt to invent a new experience that is kind of impossible or very, very difficult. And so
Hmm.
everybody is going to be intrinsically bad at it, but we all have 15 minutes to try, and we make something up, and then we take the top 10 scoring players, and they're all automatically the winners, and they have a chance to exhibit that thing, and then we all get to laugh at how hard this is and how weird it is to be a creative trying to do these things.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's the general idea. So like we don't get together to like exchange business cards and tipple and make small talk. We get together to all play this creativity game together, and then afterwards, we're all bonded by a shared experience, and
Hmm.
that's what we're able to talk about. And we have lots of prompts baked into it so that you're never at a loss for conversation. We give you networking games that have to do with the things you're talking about. So you can talk very casually with anybody there on that topic and never have to get into the sometimes more complicated diplomacy of industry politics.
Love it. Love it. So good.
Thank you.
Does that feel like it did it justice? Obviously, we have a full interview chat to talk about the details, but does that feel like the kind of the introduction that it deserved? Anything missing?
Well, I mean, so we're coming up on our 36th continuous month, which
Mm-hmm.
means that we are officially LA's longest running immersive makers monthly meetup. So if you do theme
I'm
parks or immersive
loving.
theater, what did you say?
I'm loving how niche that is, but you're gonna
I
claim
mean,
that
okay,
award.
it doesn't seem okay. I know that it's funny because like when your entire life is focusing on one thing, like you
Uh-huh.
assume that everybody else is also really into your weird little thing. Because indeed, like all of the people I know are kind of into my weird little thing, but honestly, and it's not a universal thing. But like so, Immersive Makers Monthly Meetup, that's theme parks, that's haunted houses, that's experiential marketing activations, that's game shows, that's escape rooms, that's deaf doulas, it's immersive theater. Like it's all the different kinds of things that that you're trying to cultivate a good experience, or you're trying to motivate people to do a thing without like a purely transactional backbone. So it actually is a lot of different kinds of things. And we're the place where those people can all get together and meet up and talk together in a shared language.
Amazing. I love that. I feel like that's a beautiful moment to ask you like what's the shared language or what are the shared values of the Imaginaire Duels that you are providing people or that has built over these 36 continuous monthly meetups.
Yeah, it's creativity, probably first and foremost. Like these are all people who make things, and making things is really important to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's playfulness. It's positivity in a lot of ways that I can get into, and it's irreverence. Like it's a little bit of a reaction to the normal networking event that is so square and starchy and joyless. We call it unprofessional networking. Like we're able to do things that are just like a tiny bit not safe for work. I mean, it's still an all ages show, but it's just like a little bit spicier and a little bit more reckless, and
Uh-huh.
that feels like human. It's real. It's
Mm-hmm.
how we actually want to be, and it's not the version of it where you're just so afraid you're going to say something wrong.
Love it. Which makes it so much easier to actually create relationships rather than being like boop,
Yeah,
boop, 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 beep, boop, boop.
that's right. Like yes, that those robot
Not to
noises.
undermine, yeah, I was like, not to undermine robots. Love robots. Really appreciate that they've joined the team. But
This is a great soapbox for me to have my anti-robot sentiment. Thank you for opening the door.
nope,
It's
nope, sorry.
good to
Next
have a talk
question.
like this. No,
Next
you're right.
question.
No, he's finally standing up to robots.
Honestly, yes, I am.
Good, good.
So you shared a little bit about like the structure of the events, which I love hearing because I think that it's quite a unique structure is and it feels very as though you're practicing the thing that you care about in action. So it's like you'll come together because you love experiences, and there you are creating an experience for everyone to create an experience where then they get to be creative and messy. And I think that's just like such a lovely way of breaking the ice and building actual relationships with people. So I have been to your events and I've really seen that open up where it's like being able to be silly and absurdist, but actually still like admiring people's skills to come up with bizarre ideas. It feels nearly like a kind of in experience design, you talk about like type one fun, type two fun, type
Yeah,
three
yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
type one fun is like it's nearly too easy and you don't really bond. And I feel as though the Imaginaire Duels that you create is like type 1.5 fun, where it's not too hard, but it's like a little bit, you're like, what's going on and how do I, and oh my God,
Yeah,
and what am I doing?
yeah,
And this is bad. And now it feels vulnerable to like create this bad creative idea, but then it actually opens up more opportunities for bonding. So,
yeah.
um, I just wanted to add that as someone who has experienced your events to the ways and the intention that you bring together and the values and combined with the structure of the events. So you did a
Thank
good
you.
thing. You created a good thing.
Thank you. That it's hard to do that. Like it's hard to ask people to come up with a good idea on with a ticking clock. It's hard to ask people to present. And it's a complicated ask too because there's a lot involved in that. And it's obviously doubly important to somebody who does that professionally or who aspires to. So I feel like we have built in enough safeguards so that this big, complicated, potentially scary ask is, I don't know, maybe I'm fooling myself, but I do feel like it is in some way manageable because of how we set this up. Knowing that everybody comes in going, this is a scary idea. I probably won't even participate. We'll see what happens. Like starting from
Mm-hmm.
that place, I feel like we do a I'm proud of how we dispatch those fears within the player.
Mm. Mm. I think that I want to ask you a question about like how do you build trust and how do you build a sense of safety in your event so that people can come and be safe to fail?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
this is,
Yeah.
I'm responding to what you're saying because I'm like, this actually feels like it's such an important part of what you've created that I'm wondering if you're down to speak about it now and see what you
Yeah.
got to share.
Yes. Okay. So we do a couple things. We do a couple things to try to reinforce psychological safety because that is the number one most important thing is do no harm, right? Like you have to create an environment where people feel free to explore. So, in the game that we play, you're inventing a new kind of experience, and there's a surprise creative topic, and it'll be something like okay, you're going to be making a water park for cats and the people who love them, right? Like on its face, you're like, cats hate water. What? But I mean, if you had to enter, okay, uh, all right, so maybe what I would do is this. So like the number one idea is that that all submissions are voluntary. If you come up with something and you don't want to submit it, you don't have to. And the next thing is that all submissions are anonymous. So you submit your thing, and if you win, and it's your turn to stand up and talk about it, if you don't want to do it, you just stay seated down. Nobody ever knows that it's you. Like you have complete freedom to disavow the thing that you have made at any point. There is never any obligation baked into this. And then the third one is the idea that all submissions are terrible, that every masterpiece in the world, every one of our favorite works of art started out lousy. That is the nature of making something. Nothing is perfect at first. So you have to be brave. You have to be feeling brave to make anything great. And we all recognize that 99% of what we do is not our best work. So
Mm.
that completely lets you off the hook. And so that's the first thing is the three rules, like anonymous, voluntary, terrible. And then when you stand up and pitch, you're told that you have 2 minutes and that the audience can reply with one, only what they love about what you have made, and two, they can ask polite questions verging on flirtation. And
Mhm.
so that's the general idea. Like, so we will call up. So we'll say this is one. We'll announce it by its working title. If the creator cares to stand and pitch, please take the stage. And in 99% of cases, somebody will stand up and they will take the stage. And then they will give their 2 minute spiel. And everybody is very clearly digging it because we have selected the ones that are the best. Like they will be things of merit. They can be bonkers crazy, but they will not be insubstantial or frivolous or dumb. Like they all have merit. And then I'll throw it to the venerable celebrity judge, and sometimes we have a master of merriment on stage as well, which is a sort of a comedian co-host. And I'll say, judges, what do we love about this? And they'll give a thoughtful piece of critique saying what they love. And then we'll throw it to the audience. Audience, what do we love about this? And the hands shoot up and we call them. And so after the first one, you see that this is an incredibly safe environment. And if
Hmm.
somebody forgets that rule, and this almost never happens, like the culture is very, very, very positive. But if it's their first time and they don't really know how to play the game yet, and they come out with a question that sort of has a like a criticism baked into it, as like is a very, very common thing in any kind of creative charrette or a creative
Hmm.
session where they'll ask a question, but really they're giving like a backhanded observation that they found a flaw in it. I
Hmm.
will shout like, I want that question flirtier, and then they'll have to like sort of go back and like, oh yeah, okay, so this is what I really meant to ask, and that will break the ice. And then once that happens once, it never happens again in a given meeting. Like we we have created strictures so that everybody knows the safe sandbox they're playing in, and then also we sort of mother hen that from the microphone on stage. Like we want to make sure that we encourage good behavior with lavish praise and excitement, and we don't give the floor to anybody who wants to do harm.
Mm.
So that was an example. I talked for 20 minutes there.
It was, but it's so thoughtful.
Too much.
You've created such a thoughtful structure around like building safety and trust that I think people have a lot to learn from you around building events and building community and building a space that people are drawn to and excited to share and fail in. And I loved what you said about like the safe sandbox and the mother hen. That's such a nice way of like explaining that dynamic. Um, and I think the only thing that I want to add that I've observed in you is, as you're saying, like that you have consistently shown up and that consistency builds so much trust where it's like you have done this every month for 36 months since its inception. And that consistency has built trust as well, where people are like, oh, we're doing the thing, let's go again. And that one of the things that I really admire, and I'm sharing a lot from my perspective because I think that like you've got so much to say and so much to share and so much wisdom, and you're very generous with like the experiences that you create, is that you've created fandom within that. And like fandom is hard to create. Like there's like what's his name, King Richard, where
Good
he
King
has
Richard.
good King Richard,
Yeah.
like Brett, you have created fandom,
Oh,
and that is really hard to create inside a community and really hard for people to feel so invested that clearly like the trust and the safety you've created is admirable. So you sharing so generously the details of how you've structured things is hopefully such a insight and lesson for other people who are potentially just starting building communities or like at a kind of hump of like, oh, how do we build this long term?
Thank you so much. Good King Richard is our highest scoring player who has been there since the beginning. And so part of the shtick of Imaginaire Duels is we treat it as though it's like a creativity social club. Like I don't know, like I've never been to a Masonic temple, but like I'm sort of like basing my understanding of the Masonic temple by
Uh-huh.
as how it is depicted satirically in like the Flintstones. They'll have big hats and they'll lots of chants and things like that. Like so, I've got a very cartoonish understanding of what a fraternal order, how they actually work, but we generate fake club traditions and we all wear purple velvet jackets and secret handshakes and things like that and it's kind of a bit that like we will look for any reason to venerate and celebrate a person's accomplishment by formalizing it as old business, something that we have always done in our club, and that was how the very very first one. That was how I introduced it. Like I took the stage and said, "Thank you all for coming. My name is Brett Jackson. This is Imaginaire Duels. It's a creativity game that we just created. I'm going to come back in a second and the show is going to start. But before that, the only thing that you need to know is that when I take the stage, I am going to talk about this club like it's been going on for 150 years. And the only thing you need to know is that this is the very first show. This is the very first time anyone has seen this. It never existed before that. That's the only one thing I have to let you in on. Uh, Enjoy the show. I'll talk to you afterwards. So like that was one of the foundational jokes of it, was that there were all these club traditions that like you could sort of be clued into, and then like they start as fake traditions and then they become real traditions. Did you know that we have a custom cocktail at the Obscure called the Good King Richard?
I
And
saw.
if somebody orders it, the bartender has to shout, "Good King Richard!" And Rich Molina gives a thumbs up or a thumbs down as to whether they are allowed to order the drink.
Incredible. Incredible.
And if somebody orders it when he's not there, his phone number is behind the bar and they have to call him. Anyway, this is the goof, and it's a lot of goofy people. Obviously, levity is a really really it's like, it's at the heart of me, and it's something that there's no Imaginaire Duels without goofballery. And so
True.
people who like to laugh seek us out, like, because I don't know, I think we're goofballs par excellence. We are real serious dorks about that.
Agreed.
Thank
Agreed.
you. That means a lot coming from you. Like dork numero uno. Like you are from the very very first time I met you, you were also like a complete raging goofball, and
For sure.
I think that's one of my favorite things about you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I think it's what makes the world go round and the world a little brighter, you know. And
yeah,
also is such a great reason and easy way to create friendship and relationship
yeah,
and community
yeah,
is just being a goofball. Like whatever that flavor that is to each person. So
yeah.
I love
I
that you inspire that in your events.
I think, I mean, like, not to get too deep, but I feel like that goofballery, that I believe that is the I think that's the one of the intrinsic characteristics of the universe. I feel like
Ooh.
I feel like the universe kind of messing with you
Mm-hmm.
playfully is at the heart of a lot of my human experience. I think it's more important than we realize.
Mm. I love that. I agree. I mean, the like role of the trickster or the joker or the jester and like the wise fool is like shows the kind of contention in any story
Yeah,
and has like a role in all cultures and storytelling that
yeah,
I agree with you
yeah. I feel it. I bet you do too.
for sure. Sometimes hard to remember when things are going wrong though, and you're like, God damn
Yeah, yeah.
it.
That's when it's the most important, right? When you like, it's, you laugh or you cry.
Yeah. I mean, that's a beautiful opening to like what are some of the things that you wish that you knew about building community? Maybe in your first like at the very beginning,
Yeah,
either of Imagineer Duels or in your career of community building and event hosting. Like maybe three things that you wish you knew earlier
yeah,
that other people could hear now and be like, thank you. Thank you for saving me from this.
yeah,
And also maybe normalizing the challenges of that, where you're like, in the moments where you're like, I'm going to laugh or I'm going to cry, I'm not sure which.
yeah. Okay, well then the first one is always like, start now. Don't wait until you're ready. Nobody's ever ready. Done is better than perfect. Uh, Creative rigor means prototyping and iterating. You make a thing, it's not what you wanted it to be, you start over and you make it again. So the only thing that you absolutely must do is start. So start now. You're never going to be ready. Now is the time to start. So that's the big one. I would say that venue is always going to be your biggest cost. So you have to find a great venue, and with your venue partners, along with all of your other partners, if you have a location dependent community, which not everybody will, like be be as generous and grateful as possible. Like everybody who gives you the time of day is doing you a gigantic favor, and so you should do everything that you can to show that you appreciate them, to show that you respect them, and that you value their time. So that's probably number two. Um, and it may seem like a dumb thing, but like email is better than hated email, villain of our lives is better than social media, and
Mm,
texting is better than emails. Like that's like you end up reaching more people. You have more data on who you're reaching, um, and yeah,
on email, you
it,
have more data.
yeah,
Data.
yeah. Thank you for Americanizing that pronunciation for me.
Honestly, it's got me into so much trouble
Data?
where people keep thinking I'm saying daughter, then I'm talking about their daughter, so it's
Yeah.
got me in trouble.
Are you a Star Trek nerd at all? Okay. There's a character named Data, and at one time somebody corrects him, like it says, like, "Don't you mean data?" And he says, "No, it's Data." And she says, "Isn't it pronounced data?" He's like, "Well, the difference is one of them is my name and the other is not." All right, let's watch an episode now. You've twisted my thumb. Let's watch an episode. Season one is going to be a slog, but by the time we get to season two, it's pretty on rails.
I completely threw you off track with that.
Sorry.
Coming back to email, I'm like, nice
Yeah.
try getting me to watch Star Trek. Coming
Yeah.
back to
So
email, you think that email, I'm so intrigued now because
yeah, yeah.
I tend to agree that email is better than social media. And I'm intrigued that you say text is better than email, but you're saying that email has more data?
Yeah, yeah. So you'll start out emailing from your email account, and then you'll probably find like a bulk mailing provider. I started with Mailchimp, and then I graduated to HubSpot because like I'm trying to find better ways to integrate like the data, like the sort of funnel pipeline. I'm not a social media person. I'm not a marketer, and so like this is stuff that I've taught myself. But HubSpot, like it will tell you who has opened your emails, like what percentage of people open and click through, and like what is an effective time of day to send your email, what is an effective subject line. So you're able to make incremental improvements, and then also if people actually saw it. Like with social media, they make more money if you pay them to show your work. And so it is more lucrative to them if the free version is not very effective. And
Mm-hmm.
also, you don't really know. You don't know who's seeing it. And it's not like you can opt out of socials, although perhaps you can. But you don't really have any control over how many people see your thing, and you don't ever have the satisfaction of knowing if they did, whether they didn't see it or they're not responding. But email does provide you those things, and you sort of know, like I've got an email list of 100 people or 1,000 people, and with some regularity, uh, 30 to 60% of them will open my email, and they can always opt out when they want. And the people who open my emails the most are so and so. Like that's all information that email provides you, that socials don't.
Mm-hmm. Great. I love those I wish you knew things sooner.
Yeah,
Would you summarize them? Just a one, two, three?
yeah. So that was don't wait, start now. Venue is going to be your biggest cost. Treat them well. Show your gratitude, and email before social for
Love it.
communication. Yeah.
Love it. What is when you were talking about like the don't know if you're gonna laugh or cry? What is it that keeps you going? And you're like, this is why I do this. When you're experiencing those hard moments, what do you remind yourself?
You were mentioning type 2 fun. That's a lot of times like one of my challenges as a creator is that like when I'm making something, we talked about this briefly in the beginning. Like I'm having type 2 fun. It's like I am not enjoying this. I didn't have fun making this thing that I made, but I was driven to make it, and it was very important that I do it to exacting specifications. And when it's done, when it's delivered, I'll go, "Oh, I didn't screw it up." That's great. Okay, yeah, I can feel really proud of what I made, and that's when I start to enjoy a thing. So, like for me, like the what keeps me showing up in a moment of doubt is I have a month of downtime between my events, so I have a good recharge cycle, and I'm very fortunate that my venue lets me have the same recurring date every month. So I am able to tell people Imaginaire Duels will always be at 7 p.m. on the first Tuesday of the month. And that consistency gives me enough time to hate it for a couple of days and lick my wounds and like not be able to like muster positivity and charm. My social battery runs down. So I have the time to like wait it out. So having a month of downtime between events is one thing, and then what keeps me showing up is having promised them that I will. Like I have committed to do this, and I wouldn't like myself if I broke my promise. So I
Hmm.
promised, so I have to.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Overcommit and figure it out on the way. That is to what I owe all my dubious success. Overcommit and figure it out on the way.
It sounds like I think you're a very generous host and event creator. Um, and also I want to probe that more is there things that are nourishing and giving you to you amongst all of that like commitment and responsibility?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's making something, right? Like I really love to make things. I really the Dorothy Parker quote, I don't like writing, I like having written. Like
Mm,
that's the kind of creator that I am. Like I sort of like I gotta like be making a diamond and I'm in focus mode and like really in a flow state, which is of course very satisfying in a way because you don't want to let anything drop. You don't want anything to be going wrong. And it feels good and important to be in the thrall of a thing of purpose. And it's not fun, but it is good and
mm,
it feels good. Yeah, so it's the showing up and doing it and then having done it, and then the next component of it is just that like I see the way that people are experiencing this. I see that it's good for them, like that it feels good, and it's a way that I can be taking care of people that I love. Like it's like it's the enjoyment is like sort of the hostly impulse to be good and to take care of my friends,
mm.
I think. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for all that you do.
Well, it's my pleasure. I
My
mean,
final question, go on.
no. My
My
final
final question,
answer.
which is
That
an
was my final
open
answer today.
question.
Today.
Mic drop. You're like, no more.
How final this sounds.
My final question, which is very open, so you can answer it honestly how you wish, is there anything that you haven't said or shared that you feel like it would be incomplete to not say? Maybe it's for the sake of other community builders, maybe it's for the sake of reflection of understanding your own experience with community building. However you wish to answer it.
I think when you build community, at the heart of that is probably if you're doing it right, like you're building a community because you want to belong, right? You yourself have a need, or for me, I'll say it for me. I won't generalize. I do community events, and I do a lot of different kind of community events. I've done them for a long time. Like creative
You too.
communities is my thing. And I think that I keep coming back to them Well, I mean, first because they get a really good response. Like it's something that people like respond to, and so it's nice when you make something and it finds an audience easily and enthusiastically. Um, but I think I keep coming back to these things because I want community. So I don't know if it's a primordial rule of good design of community building or not, but make exactly the community that you want, maybe, because by making a community, you're scratching the itch of needing a community, and so prioritize the kind of community you wish you had. For me, that's a funny, creative community of brilliant weirdos that laugh all the time at the bizarre realities of this profession and this life. How's that?
Perfect.
Oof.
Feels like it's really summarizes you and how you are in the world.
Well, that's kind of you to say.
Now you can drop the mic.
Boom.
Before it was a
Actually,
little premature.
it's on a swivel.
Well, such a pleasure to be in conversation with you. I think you are an incredibly thoughtful, generous community host and builder, and I love hearing more about the ways that you've structured things where you've done it so many times that it seems effortless, but there is like a huge amount of intention in the ways that you do things. Um, and particularly around like that belonging and the trust and the safety. So I am sure that many people will have a lot to learn from you and from what you've shared. And it's been such a pleasure, and I'm excited to see if there's more ways that people could learn from you and in building communities for the future for all of us.
What a lovely thing to say. Thank you for having me, Euphemia. This was a lot of fun, as always.
Agreed. Agreed. Thank you, Brett Jackson. I don't know why I can't say your name just Brett. It's always Brett Jackson.
A lot of people do that, and I encourage it.
Great. Well, thank you, Brett Jackson.
My sincere pleasure.